So I have been in front of this microphone in this chair for a very long time talking about changing the rule that a ball that's fumbled into and through or out of the end zone goes back to the defense for a very long time. And I've heard a lot of stuff like, well, it doesn't really happen so much. We're not going to really change it. Or we're talking about it, but I don't really see anything. Your language at the microphone last week, sir, at the meeting of membership sounded like there's a possibility that this could truly be changed as a rule. Am I reading this right, Troy?
I read your Big Ten clips as a Big Tenner.
Okay.
No, so yes, it doesn't happen very often, Rich. When you look at it, it's only happened 3 times this year.
Mm-hmm.
And many believe it's such a punitive penalty for the offense. Why? There's been more discussion around it this year than I've heard in my last 10 years or 9 years. So it is something that the membership, the coaches will have to discuss. I think if there's a year that it gets adjusted, I do believe this is the year.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the year just based off of, is it so punitive? Now, the coaches in the room, Rich, feel a lot differently about it. And what do they say? This is always the argument. And Coach Belichick says it best. You got to protect that football. You cannot, there's a skill, but you have to protect the football at all costs. When there's a little bit of lackadaisicalness of crossing that end zone, or you want to stick, put the ball out there to cross the pylons, there's a consequence that comes with that. So you get the argument of, why are we rewarding poor skill? Or so that's what you get. But I do believe, just based off what I've seen and what I've heard, we do need to take a look at that. And I think the membership and the coaches will take a look at it. I think it'd be healthy discussion. This may be the year where I think there's an adjustment. And people may say, well, what would you adjust?
Yes.
Well, maybe giving the offense back the ball, maybe put it on the 5-yard line, maybe put it on the 15-yard line. But it shouldn't be a turnover. I think that's the gist of it.
Right. And then maybe we're wondering, if you do give the ball back to the offense, other than just the wear, is there a penalty that comes with it that you lose a down, similar to maybe intentional grounding? There are ways to still make it punitive, but keep the ball in the hands of an offense that did maybe, and Belichick is right. My colleague here is a big Patriots fan, saying, notice Patriot players never reach the ball for the pylon because they are coached not to do it, and they're doing their jobs, right? To use the Belichick phrase, and I understand that. But if the ball's fumbled at the 1-inch line, it's yours. If it's fumbled at the minus 1-inch line, it's not. And that's the arbitrary weirdness that I think would come home to roost in a very negative way if it happens in the Super Bowl.
Yes. Did you see the Moore play in Tampa last week? That was a really, really good example. The receiver goes in and he extends the ball out.
Right.
At the very, very end. And you have to go back. Where did the ball come out? But it wasn't clear and obvious when he just crossed. So is that the play we're trying to capture? The Moore touchdown, I think it was Moore, the receiver Moore in Tampa.
Yes.
But he extends the ball, crosses. It looks like he's crossed the goal line. And then, boom, a fumble occurs, which many would say great defensive effort, great hustle, great play. There wasn't enough clear and obvious evidence to overturn it. But that is one of the 3 plays that we'll watch from this season. But historically, Rich, and again, it doesn't happen very often. I think we've seen there was the most ever was 9 in 2017. But typically, then 2015, there were 6. Other than that, you see that play happening less than 5 times a year. And we're looking at 40 to 41,000 plays per season.
Right. By the way, I also think if the ball's fumbled through and out the back of the end zone, that I don't mind, you lose possession. Like if you fumble it into the end zone and out the back, it's different than the sides. And I know that you're making things maybe a little bit more confusing. But again, since I don't have a seat in the competition committee, Troy, although I feel I should, just straight up, coming through the front door here.
I will provide your input. I would tell him that you and I spoke about this.
I will appreciate that.
This is important. This is important to you. Not only have you spoken about it this year, but you've probably been the most vocal individual in the sports arena that have spoken about this publicly.
Thank you, sir. And I appreciate the use of arena because I feel I am in one. I agree. That is true. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.